Uh, all right. Looks like we are live now, Kurt.
Cool.
Hello, everybody. Tonight, gonna be getting this Asian beetle off my painting table here first.
Ooh.
But once that's done, we're gonna paint up Darth Maul from Shatterpoint. Lord Maul, I guess. It's not Darth at this point anymore.
Yeah, I forget if he's Lord or just Maul or what the game refers to him as, but
So also trying out a multicam setup tonight. Um,
yeah, I like that
just to
extra
see.
angle.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought just because, especially for those times when I'm like forgetting to hold it on camera like this or something, people can still kind of see what I'm doing. And if I'm going to spend podcast money to, have multiple cameras, might as well keep using them all.
yeah,
Okay. Well, so this may sound really dumb to some people, but the first thing I'm going to do is, even though he's primed black, I'm still going to paint a layer of just plain old black here on his skin, just so because the colors you do when you prime and stuff don't always match what you're gonna get out of your pots. So um, it's never a bad idea to just do like a quick base coat on, if you that's at least those times when you're priming something, a color you want to use as one of your base colors. um, and it's usually not
yeah,
too bad because you don't have to worry about getting like perfect coverage or anything like that, just all the
exactly.
major areas. And then that way you don't have to worry about, once you do start coming in and bringing in, you know trying to touch up something with that like, oh, whoops, I got some red where I shouldn't. Well, now I have to fix this with the black. But then you start painting and you realize, oh no, this black is actually way different
Mhm.
than what I primed, even though it's just black. I mean,
Yeah, there's some subtly different shades and subtly different darkness and matte quality stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, and the same thing can happen when you're like, I mean, even with like some of those Army Painter and Citadel primers that are supposed to be color matched to, they're never 100%. I mean, I did prime this with um, the other thing is, like, I primed this with Vallejo black in my airbrush. And while
Mhm.
I don't even have a Vallejo black, so I'm gonna use the black I do have to try and you know make sure I'm just keeping the right match here. So let's get started on some more exciting colors now than just plain old black on black. Where is my?
Are you planning to paint him like pretty standard, like pretty movie accurate
Yeah, well, I mean, this is, Clone
or show
Wars
accurate,
him, so
whatever?
yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, a show accurate. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to decide if I want to do this red first before I do everything. No, I think I'll start with his cloak and things like that here first, which I want to be sort of like a dark gray, but not. What's this? Yeah, that's just plain old black. Like I've got this army painter, or this the army painter necromancer cloak, Which that reminds me,
Hmm.
our store here in town finally got their they got the Fanatic paint line in.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know anything about that one.
Oh, they're like army painters attempt at not being garbage.
Okay.
Um, so no, Pigfog, I have not gotten a chance to try them. They just got them in the store the other day. Um, but I don't I don't have any colors I need at the moment, so I haven't had an excuse to go out and buy any. But I am very excited to finally run out of a color and go buy some. Like I wish I had the money to just scoop up all my Citadel paint pots and throw them in the garbage because I hate those things, and replace
Oh.
them all with equivalent Fanatic paints. Or at least, I think I do. Oh, there, it finally happened, and it happened on camera. What Joe was complaining about the other day about the tip clogging, and then you squirt out way more than you actually need.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so I'm starting with that like necromancer cloak, but we're gonna add some black, I think, to because it needs to be a little darker than that.
An appropriate color for Maul too. He's like necromancer adjacent.
It's gonna take forever trying to get it out of that citadel box. We'll just drop some in here with the army painter. God, that's so much paint for one mini. Like this would be enough if I was like painting up a whole damn army, or not maybe not an army, but like a couple units or something like that, squads. Oh well, that'll just help me run out of this stuff sooner, so I have an excuse to replace them with that Fanatic paint, like I was talking.
Oops, I spilled it all.
Yeah. And some of these colors are, you know, kind of garbage, to be honest. So like,
Yeah.
they might end up being ones that like I might use them or try start using them. Like I'm gonna, oh, I need this yellow or whatever, and then I'm like, this really sucks, and I get frustrated and go replace it right away. So yeah, this is one of those things where I hate because it's like doesn't translate the greatest to camera when I'm like painting dark gray on black. So I glance over at the stream and it looks like I'm not doing much. Um,
Fake painter. I feel like that's the type of thing that feels like there would be a controversy over on Twitch or some other streaming platform like this. Like people going like, I'm pretty sure they were just like brushing uh like with water only on top of an already painted mini, and then they would take it off screen and then bring on a mini with more paint on it that someone else had painted and then pretend to add colors to that.
like on like cooking shows when they like they put the thing in the oven and then they pull out the already cooked thing out of the
Hmm.
oven and um, it'd be kind of funny sometime to just like paint a mini green on stream while you have like the like green chroma keying turned on, so it just like keeps blocking out the mini as you're painting it.
Hmm.
Um, have you been? So what have you been painting lately?
In Notions,
Oh yeah,
I'm about halfway, maybe not even quite halfway through a squad. I haven't been finding a lot of time to actually focus on them. They they honestly go pretty quickly when I am spending the time on them. because it's been mostly contrast paints, but they're pretty fun actually. I kind of like them. They're like not that complex because they're kind of just like mostly skin and a little bit of metal. But I've been trying to have fun with some different mixes for the skin tones. Like in some pictures they look more green, in some pictures they look more brown or reddish. So I'm kind of trying to do the same thing with the different color mixes I'm trying, and also add in some, not really texturing, but add some variety with like uh they seem like they have like kind of like speckled colors on them sometimes too, because their skin is very rough. So it's kind of been fun to try to add some of those details too. And the army painter metallic speed paints I got have like worked really well on their little bit of gold armor and stuff. So I'm pretty satisfied with those.
And another thing I hate is when you start painting and then you find like a mold line that you wish you had cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still probably one of those things that like, oops, shouldn't have painted that. Oh well, I can still go over it with the color it's supposed to be. Um, like
Not noticeable to a lot of
yeah,
people,
actually,
probably.
yeah, like no one else is gonna notice it, but you're gonna notice it every time you look at that mini.
Yeah, I always will. Definitely had ones that I went back and cleaned up a mold line after there was already some paint on it. It's bugging me enough.
Let's see. His shoulder pads, even though they're a different material, do appear to be about the same colors as like little tunic hoodie thingies. So I think we'll go with that for the same color that I have mixed up here for shoulder pads. My favorite kaiju slash Godzilla monster. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think Destroya is pretty cool. Like Godzilla versus Destroya was just a really good movie in general. I also am a huge fan of the legendary uh, Godzilla. Like I've really been enjoying these films, even though like this most recent one is silly as hell. I still love them. And Godzilla minus one was great. This particular one you can't see, but it's very well. But it's actually one of the kaiju from Pacific Rim. If I can hunch down enough, I don't think I can. But anyways, it's a Pacific Rim T-shirt, which is also another fantastic movie. I know you were a big fan. I think you really liked Shin Godzilla, didn't you, Kurt?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I liked the monster design a ton.
Yeah, the whole like weird like tortured creature thing they went for with that one was definitely interesting. I mean, personally, I wasn't the hugest fan of Shin Godzilla. Like I kind of like I get where they were sort of going with this whole um like
Bureaucracy and
bureaucracy and like
yeah.
the incompetence of the government and blah blah blah, but I didn't find it very compelling, and I had a hard time maintaining interest during most of the human segments.
I will say I found it hard to keep a lot of the human characters straight because it's like, wait, the minister of what, the undersecretary of what, and I would lose track of who was who, other than like the main guy, maybe like one or two others or something. But it's hard to remember. Like, is that a returning character or another new bureaucrat?
Well, and I think even just like flooding you with so many bureaucrats was like part of the joke too, you know?
For sure. Yeah.
Um, let's see. I can't quite see the chat. I don't know if it's popped up for you yet, Kurt. Did he say his favorite is Biolante?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, that's a good one.
I don't actually know that one personally.
Uh, the
Is
big,
that
big,
from?
big plant monster.
Oh, okay.
Was that
Is
in?
that from Godzilla stuff or?
Yeah. Um, the what are these? Oh, those are like pockets in his pants. So they are that same color there. Okay. All right.
Theo,
So
have you ever watched Kaiju Big Battle?
Kaiju Big Battle does not ring a
That's
bell.
the right name. It's like Kaiju professional wrestling. It's very strange.
I have not seen that, but that sounds amazing.
I think it still exists. I don't know where they're based out of. I remember hearing about it in high school from some friends who were like into MST3K and stuff. It seemed kind of funny.
Oh, so it's like an actual like live show, not like a YouTube channel or something. Oh well, I mean maybe these
Yeah,
days they said they have. I mean, YouTube didn't
yeah, I
exist when
wonder.
we were in high school, but
Yeah, I feel like they honestly would have to adapt, but
I don't
yeah, I
know. I
think
mean,
they at least for sure
there's
started
still a
as.
market for some of that stuff. Like the last time I went to a big like convention down in I went to GalaxyCon down in the cities. Uh,
Mhm.
just before COVID happened, and they actually had like a cosplayer um like a cosplay professional wrestling thing
Mhm.
show at the con. That was pretty cool. Like, so you got to,
Yeah, it could be really fun.
yeah, like you
Like
got to see
combine those two.
like like April O'Neil was like the ring girl, and then like so you
Mhm.
got to see like Skeletor team up with like the Joker to fight like Batman and just silly things like that.
Yeah, that could be really fun.
Hey, look, this is some of
Like
the
there's a fair number of wrestlers that kind of almost are borderline cosplay anyways.
yeah. Well, I mean, there are some like that occasionally do that too. Like I know there was this one dude, I forget his name because it was like after I'd already stopped uh watching wrestling, but like he's a big Dragon Ball Z fan and he like came out dressed up as like Vegeta with like the Saiyan armor and a scouter and everything.
Hmm.
And like he's like and like he does like cosplay stuff all the time. Like him and another wrestler posted pictures of themselves on like Instagram and stuff dressed up as like Team Rocket from Pokemon
Hmm.
and things like that. There's seriously a lot of nerds in wrestling. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it seems like a big, like macho dude thing. I mean, there was literally a wrestler named Macho Man, but yeah, a lot of nerds are into wrestling and get into wrestling. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Pigpog. I wouldn't. I guess I wouldn't say it's a problem with Godzilla movies. I just think, but
You
yeah,
need some of it to ground it.
yeah. I mean, you need that human story. Um, but yeah. I mean, there's some like the one in Godzilla minus one, fantastically written. Like it's one of those ones where when Godzilla's not on the screen, you don't even really mind it because the human characters are so engaging. Um, but then you get stuff like, say, like Godzilla Final Wars, where it's just like, oh my god, you've got like weird people like doing like Matrix Neo fights with aliens and all kinds of just, and you just don't care about any of these characters, with the exception of that submarine captain with the giant mustache. He's awesome, and the like one redeeming quality of Godzilla Final Wars. But other than that, like the humans all suck in that movie. Um, and that's kind of why like there's some stuff like Godzilla versus Kong, like the newer like legendary one. I think they did a smart thing and really sidelined the human characters a lot compared to the first two movies. I mean, they're obviously still there, but they feel like more like an afterthought to the kaiju, which is nice.
For me, there's not that many classic ones I've actually seen. I have seen original, the first Godzilla, and bits and pieces of a few random ones I don't remember. Probably like the first Mecha Godzilla, and I don't remember what. And I know I've seen Mothra like semi recently, enough to remember it. Unlike Godzilla, that I don't really remember that well.
See, but
Uh,
even when you say those, it's like, are we talking like the Heisei or the Showa era or
I don't know enough. I thought those ones I saw were the original first ones. Uh, is that Showa?
geez, I always get I think the Showa era is sort of like the middle era, if I
Okay.
remember right, like from like the 80s to the 90s kind of.
Okay.
Um and that's kind of like my favorite period of Godzilla was those ones. Um like there's just a lot of really good films in that whole time period. Um, but yeah,
Something
I
really
mean,
charming for me about the really old classic special effects with the tiny model tanks and stuff, and the Mothra priest ladies singing and stuff.
uh huh,
I do like Mothra. I remember seeing some tiny snippet of a Mothra movie when I was really little. I was like, "Whoa, giant monster!" Like it was like really cool. I
ah,
can't really think of many modern ones that I've enjoyed. Not that I've seen that many. Like honestly, I didn't get much out of Pacific Rim, and I never
oh
watched the
man,
sequel.
oh man, I'm
I
gonna
just I don't know. I didn't like the actors or characters or something. It
I'm
was just
gonna
like it seems
kick
like a
you
little too
off
goofy.
this stream.
One of our friends, Sam, she even wrote a short story for a Pacific Rim fanzine.
I
I
designed
I don't
my
know. I
own.
might like it if it were
T-
like different characters or something, like different actors. Maybe I would have liked it, but I don't know.
hey
I did not
everybody,
like Charlie Hunnam or whatever.
Joe's
every time
here.
I see Pacific Rim, I'm like, oh, is that the guy from Tron? No, it's a different guy, and then I get let down.
I don't remember if I saw the Asylum Pacific Rim. I forget the name of it.
It was called
Pacific
Atlantic Rim.
Atlantic Rim.
Yeah.
I can't remember if
Here,
I ended up
here's
watching it or
a
not.
here's a unless you're deep in kaiju conversation, I've got a conversation card.
Kaiju about the Zillow Beast.
You're invited to the
Pretty
wedding
bad.
of Princess Leia and Han Solo. What do you bring as a wedding gift?
Um, I
Condoms.
I compose a song called Han Solo. What a guy.
That's been done before, though, hasn't it?
Not in this canon, it hasn't been.
Well, in this canon, I know the future, so I don't know. Do I bring them explicit contraceptives, or do I get real unethical and like give them some kind
Oh
of
no.
meal that will sterilize them for the good of the galaxy, or just like a parenting book, like how to actually be there for your son, so he doesn't turn into a fascist monster.
That's a good idea. Because I mean,
But maybe
I
Luke
don't know if
needed.
we
I don't
know
know.
his exact age. Like, was he conceived, you know, on their wedding night or much later when you're not around anymore? Or are you gonna hang out with them a long time and like keep
Forget. Yeah, I mean,
a
whatever
long
my
term
gift
plan?
is has to stop Kylo Ren. That is the pressure of the gift giving. Or maybe you know what? Maybe we can't stop Kylo Ren, but we can stop them from like separating and just a different book that says son turned out to be a villain.
Have a better
Meh,
marriage.
happens to everybody. You know, so they don't blame themselves. So they go, oh, you know what? This is common. Everybody's has sons that turn into monsters.
And
Or
as I'm adjusting this
Luke
mini
give it a
around in
teacher.
my hands, I keep like catching the blades on my hands. There's no way I'm gonna complete painting this guy without snapping one of these off.
There, with obviously I snapped one off the other day, but normally I feel like they're somewhat flexible. Not that you should test it, but I feel like they can take a wobble or two. I need to go wet my palette, if you know what I mean. By that I mean put water in my wet palette. I'll be right back.
Gross.
The other thing I was gonna say about kaiju, uh, probably the Godzilla thing I've watched the most was the cartoon with Godzuki. So that's like almost my favorite
Oh, I
Godzilla in a
thought you were
way.
gonna say like the '90s Godzilla cartoon. Because you know, as dumb as that movie was, the cartoon that spun off from that Matthew Broderick movie was actually pretty good.
I honestly had completely forgotten about it, but that took me back. You sent me back, and I feel like I can visualize it. I don't remember anything about it. I think I watched it at least once, but man,
Kurt, what are you painting tonight?
Geonosians.
The town red.
I
Blood of my enemies.
painting the fake cover pack, the Shatterpoint terrain pack.
Check out chat.
I'll sing I'm Han Solo from that amazing Connect game.
What a
Been on
gift.
my been on my list if or whenever I actually get a house with space of trying to do like a because I'm falling prey to the ways of content bullshittery to do like a Star Wars Connect everyday like fitness experiment.
Fitness challenge.
Well, just like okay, can you lose weight by playing Star Wars Connect every day for a year?
Oh man, that's slightly different. Should I do it a different gray? Probably.
You think Han Solo's best man was Chewie or Lando?
I don't think he had one. His wedding is very explicitly um, described in the book, The Princess and the Scoundrel, and it was my favorite part of that book. The rest of the
They
book
had
was
no
kind of
wedding party,
whatever, and
or Han didn't.
what?
They had no wedding party.
I don't think so. It wasn't,
Only Leia
like
did, or
they didn't go to like a Catholic church. They were in an Ewok tree, and their friends were there, and it was actually very funny because the Ewoks were trying to be very involved, and they really didn't want that. And then C3PO was like, "Oh, okay, I'll handle this," and they're like, "No, we want that even less." It was really good.
They didn't go to a Catholic church. They are going to have their marriage annulled by the space pope. And you know what that leads to? Kylo Ren.
Otherwise, that book
But
was
here's
pretty meh. But I liked the all the Endor stuff. They have like a bachelor party, and the Ewoks show up, and so Han and Lando and Chewie and all the other rebels they're hanging out with are like, oh god, and all the Ewoks like start being really rowdy.
I think there are some other
Did they
strategies.
get any
you can
Ewok strippers for their bachelor party?
Unfortunately, that wasn't in the book, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
There was a chapter and Disney nixed it. God dang woke Disney, ruining my Star Wars.
Take off the
Wicket,
little
like-
poncho.
Yeah, Wicket pulls his hood off. They're like,
Turns out like the genitals are on the back of their heads. That should be a subscriber goal. At 1 million of should do the I'm Han Solo music video. Well, sure, that can be a goal because I tell you, sorry to break it to you, we're never making 1 million subscribers.
It's a pretty safe challenge to assign yourself.
Uh,
yeah.
I
Sure.
will do something with. I have Star Wars Connect. I have an Xbox 360 with a Connect. They're all in the closet waiting for me to have space.
I wonder how much it goes for on eBay.
Uh,
So I could hook my old Xbox up too.
I bought my copy of Star Wars Connect for less than $5.
I was gonna say, I think that and even like the Connects, like you can get them like at Rock 30 or Replay Games here in town for not that much.
The thing you'd really want is the best custom console ever made was the Xbox 360 with Kinect that was made to look like R2 and 3PO. Because it had, I think the Xbox was R2 and the controller was 3PO, and the console had custom startup
That's
noises
right.
and stuff. It was really good. Wish I had one of those. But yeah, Kinect can't be that much either. It's funny that like how
And I have a Connect, multiple
okay.
Connects.
It's weird that like the Kinect was like
don't know if they
a
would boot up.
legitimate like really good piece of technology with a lot of, but it like was just shit for games, and then
Kind
everybody
of.
in like the tech sector was like, oh, this is really good for all sorts of other like non-gaming things.
Kind of like the PlayStation 3, how it like got
Oh yeah.
used as like to make like Beowulf Linux clusters for distributed computing.
But yeah, I guarantee you will not have any trouble purchasing any number of copies of Star Wars Connect. It's
I honestly
the-
would have fun playing it like one time probably.
oh yeah, for sure.
Like I had fun with Dance Central and stuff back in the day. You know, I like those kind of games.
But could you play
I
it
don't think
every
it's
day
a thing,
for a
though.
year?
No.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
Honestly, I do wonder like if my old Xbox, like, do old consoles like that even boot up anymore? Are they like, oh, no connection found to the mothership?
I mean,
Yeah, of course they do.
yeah,
Stop functioning.
yeah. You just turn them on.
Especially if it's not a Gen 1 360, it'll be fine.
Yeah, like mine red ring to death pretty hard not that long ago. So, but my like original like big brick Xbox still boots up fine.
My Xbox One is now over 10 years old. It still works when I need it to, which is very rarely. Okay, so we're going to be scrapping these painting streams and doing Star Wars Connect streams starring Kurt.
Yeah, because
I
I don't have a
I could do
Connect, so
pretty
I
good
can't
at
do
it,
it.
honestly.
And I don't have the space for it, so Gotta be you, Kurt. And we do it until you get all of the achievements. I didn't even know until I watched Funhouse play that game that it had a pod racing mode. It has like be a little Padawan mode.
Lightsaber fighting and stuff too, I think, right? Yeah, there's like a few different games.
And
It's not just dancing.
it had like run around as a Rancor and smash buildings.
So there is more to the game than just being Han Solo, huh?
Imagine being cursed with the knowledge of all of those lyrics. Like if you actually played it every day for a year, you'd know all of the songs by heart.
And
Which
like,
Star Wars character do you wish was your best friend? We already do. I don't know if I'm taking from the we've done them already or the haven't done them yet pile.
R2 and Chewbacca would both be cool, I think.
Hmm.
Or Chopper. Or Kanan. Kanan would be cool.
I don't know. One of those really rich guys from Canto Bight. He could be my friend. You know, like Star Wars Elon Musk.
Lobot.
You want to be his
Cool.
friend though?
Well, I mean, it would be sort of like a parasitic relationship where
Right. Like that's
he
appealing.
just wants validation, and I just want to mooch off his money. So I
This
just
building I'm painting is gonna look like garbage because at this point I care about how this looks. And I'm just slapping all
Which one
sorts
is
of
it?
weird.
Take cover pack? High ground pack, would you
Yeah.
say?
It's the take cover. So there's one building, painted this twice before or once before. I don't know. I've painted one of these before. Painting the rocks will be a little interesting and faster.
Is take cover
That's one
is
of the
take cover a
gonks, right?
Star Wars quote? Because I feel like they can only have expansions named after quotes.
Probably.
Probably like a clone says like
I
take
was
cover.
gonna say I guarantee at least like one clone said it at some point.
Bug says he would want Wedge Antilles.
Maybe he could get
feel
pretty
like-
serious though.
Yeah, Wedge would. I feel like Wedge would judge you, but also I would judge Wedge because he has the hots for Nora Wexley and she sucks. And I'd have to be like, bro, she's no good. Look at that kid of hers.
Have you
Really
seen
want
that?
to be a father-in-law to a Greg Grunberg?
Look at that fucking droid he made.
I would be friends with Biggs. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and then you wouldn't have to like have that like
Like a
going
great
for
wingman.
long.
Or I feel like Hobby's probably like annoying.
I'd be friends
Like
with
Joker.
I forget what his name is or what her name is. There's in one of the in the High Republic young adult books. There's a character who has a large cat that has horns that are like electric, and it's like been in the family for generations because it's really old. But it's like a chill cat who's got your back, but is pretty smart. I want that.
I'd be friends with Max Rebo and like jam, like play some music.
Especially if Max Rebo has the voice from the Skywalker saga. I don't know if you've heard that. He talks sort of like do you remember Jeffrey Wright's character in the James Bond movies?
Yeah, you mean
Felix Leiter.
Yeah, Felix.
Yes,
I don't remember him
talks.
talking a certain way.
He talks sort of like like a hip jive jazz guy. Like, oh, cause people do cats and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. That would be part of my requirement of being friends with Max Rebo. Because like anything he said to you would just feel way more cool if he's like, yeah, that's radical.
I'd be friends with Malakili. Like, get to ride cool animals around.
You have to comfort him when his pets die.
Yeah, you're the weak way who goes, too bad, too bad. Everyone in Star Wars is like way too like uh beyond normal for me to like picture myself being friends with them. I'm like, oh, these are like the most important people in the galaxy. Otherwise, they're not like characters in the show, in the movies. So like, they're beyond my level of like what I would be comfortable hanging out with. I'd be like, so you want to play board game? They're like, I have to save the galaxy. They're like, oh, okay, maybe next time.
Maybe I'll be friends with like that guy walking in the background in the episode of Andor.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's more my speed.
Cool. Chillest background characters.
Or
I like at Maz's castle. I don't think we see his full body, but there's a guy who's basically like in Renaissance fair clothing. Like he's wearing like a leather jerkin and leather gloves. Like he looks like
jerking it.
medieval character.
Yeah? You got a problem with that?
My name is Leather Jerkin.
Ooh, Gonk Droid is a good idea from Pigpog.
Ooh, a new better answer. Zuckus. I just finished the Bounty Hunters comics. Finally came to an end, much to my disappointment. Uh, Violet Valence had a happy ending, which pissed me off because I wanted him to like die alone. But it cemented that Zuckus and Forlom are like the coolest duo because they're just like a few times like reaffirming to each other that like, oh well, you're my best friend. And the way Zuckus, he's got like some kind of speech pattern where he'll like preface everyone's name with the word friend, like, oh, friend Dengar needs help or whatever. Like Zuckus seems just like such a nice guy, and he's the only guy who didn't like betray one of the other main characters when everyone else did. And he was like, not cool, guys. This is friend what's her name needed our help. I like the Bounty Hunter comics. Despite the fact that the main character is my least favorite character in all of Star Wars, the rest of the supporting cast still makes me like those comics. Dirge even shows up in there.
Wow.
And Boba Fett kicks all of their asses. They have to like, they need Boba Fett for something, and they go there, and he thinks they're there to collect on a price the Black Sun put on his head, and he fucks up Forlom, Zuckus, Bosk, Dirge, Deathstick, and a handful of other characters that are.
Who's Deathstick?
Deathstick, interestingly, she's a Dathomirian. She was created for the Star Wars mobile RPG Uprising. You remember that game?
Yeah.
Nope.
Which apparently had a lot of contributions to the lore. Like if you look up like what happened to the Anoit sector after Palpatine died, all of that comes from that game. But anyway, that's
Yeah,
what
well,
Deathstick's from.
well, remember when it first came out, they like made a big deal about it. Like, oh, this is the first game and the new canon and
If you look up the Star Wars Uprising art book, it's like eh, apparently highly collectible. But she's just some kind of like hardcore like ninja assassin person who uses blade.
Hmm.
Boba Fett kicks all their asses. I'm like, yeah, Boba Fett. Show him what's up. Dirge, whatever. Bosk cut his arm off. That's the fun thing about Bosk. You can dismember him all the time in the comics because they just grow back, so it's not as violent.
BD1 would be a good friend.
Oh yeah, BD1 would be the best.
I think I definitely want like some type of droid friend to just like hang
Yeah.
out. It's like BMO. Play video games on my droid friend.
football.
Yeah, I think BD1 would definitely be a better friend than, or like R2. I don't know if I could be friends with Chopper, like
It
as
would
best
get
friend,
annoying.
because he would like be pranking me too much, and that would bug me. Or he would like, go kick a puppy or something. I'd be like, that's out of line. Like I can't. I'm not gonna cheer
I don't
for
know. It
him.
depends. I feel like he isn't that mean to AP5. You know, like I feel like they found a way to get along where they don't really. I mean, they
True.
kind of like rib each other, but like in a non-mean way.
Big podcast. Is she addicted to death sticks? I don't think Death Stick is addicted to death sticks, which gonna be sort of weird if your name is Death Stick and like if there was a bounty hunter named Cigarette and they didn't smoke,
Right.
that'd be kind of weird.
It's just kind of a weird nickname, anyways. Like, why do they call you cigarette or like
Like she even
cocaine?
uses
I'm
like a
cocaine.
bow staff. Like that would make a little more sense if she beat people to death with a stick, but she uses like knives.
Maybe she doesn't know what death sticks are, and she just thought it was a cool name. Like, oh, like stick of death. Ooh. She didn't realize she was naming herself cigarette.
And she's like way too scary for anybody to kill her.
Like, my name is Speedball because I'm so good at throwing fastballs in baseball.
I mean, there was a Marvel superhero named Speedball.
Okay.
He's part of the New Warriors.
Probably
Still
existed.
my idea.
Was like written before that had like you see that
My name's Bath Salt.
there's like a comic about I think Iron Man saying like Steve needs a good dicking or something, but like in the 60s when it was written it like meant like a good talking to. Or I've seen one of the Joker,
Talking about
oh
boners.
they'll laugh at my boners, which just meant
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that one about the good dicking is actually fake. I think I'm pretty sure that one's fake.
the boner one is real though.
Yes. But there are some fake ones out there because it was like a thing that happened in like one comic, but then like because it was funny, people made like lots of fake versions of it too.
A friend gives you a Kowakian monkey lizard as a pet. Do you keep it around to laugh at your jokes like Jabba the Hutt did, or do you rehome it with someone else?
Definitely get rid of it. Definitely.
Yeah. I don't like monkeys, and I don't like.
Yeah, he is ugly
Like
as hell.
destroy your house.
Right? Unless it was like really well behaved and just like Jabba the Hutt, he was just there as to be like my hype man and laugh at all my jokes. Can you imagine like he does nothing but just chill? Maybe like gives you a back rub now and then. And then whenever you say something like sort of funny, he just bursts out laughing. I would love
Maybe
that.
maybe maybe most of them aren't that bad. You know, maybe Maybe Salacious Crumb was the only like really annoying one, and the rest are actually really chill.
I don't know. I think after watching Nope, like I'm just like no monkeys.
Have you seen that, Joe?
I have not
You should. It's good.
Yeah, and it'll
watched a
change
lot of horror movies.
your whole outlook on it's not really a horror movie. It's you watched Alien pretty recently, right?
Yeah.
Um I would say it's more in the vein of like Alien than like an actual like horror movie.
Well, I don't need like more fuel to
I would
my I
call
don't
Alien
like
horror.
monkeys. But that was the weird part about the
It's good
Planet of the
though.
Apes movies. It's like, oh, these are so good, but I don't like monkeys or apes. But like, obviously, I'm kind of rooting for them because they're the underdogs.
The Under
Without
Monkeys.
spoiling anything, the sci-fi designs in Nope are so cool. I think
Pretty wild
I really
stuff, yeah.
it's good. It has
Yoon.
Stephen Yoon. Yeah, I really liked him in
Invincible.
it. And the main guy is it Daniel Oyalewo?
Yeah, something like that.
Thought he was good.
It's
Liked his
got
sister character too. She's kind of like annoying and she's supposed to be, but I thought she was a good like fit for the story. It's very interesting. It kind of goes into Hollywood stuff a lot, and like Hollywood, uh, like stunts and like animal work, which is how the chimp stuff gets in there. I really liked it. I thought it was interesting. I think it's like less horror-y than Alien in a
The
lot of
Wolf
ways.
Gamer
But
says, "Hello there."
howdy.
hello,
Man, painting
Now, that
these
might be bait for trying to get us to say General Grievous, but you know what? Kind of over that. I was actually never into it.
painting all these tiny little red marks are kind of sucks.
What tiny little red marks?
On
Oh,
it.
Darth
are
Maul.
you avoiding the black marks?
Yeah.
Interesting. The way I did it, I just painted it all red. Obviously, except the back of his head, which is all black. Um, I painted it all red, highlighted all the red the way I normally would, and then I painted in the black bits.
Huh. Interesting. That sounds like a really terrible way to do it.
Well, sounds like you're struggling. I didn't struggle. I said, "Wow, got to be the best way possible."
how did you even do that? I'm looking at this thinking that would be like the worst. Oh. Did you drop black contrast in there or
I think I just freehanded it
cuz I could
with
see
a tiny
that
little
maybe
bitty brush.
working. But
Also, this was a long time ago because it's a corset character, which I painted uh, maybe even before the game was officially out. So I don't remember my method 100%, but I'm pretty sure, just knowing me, that's probably how I would have done it. Is just paint all that red and
really
then
because like the red spots are like raised up. So then you'd have to get down in the grooves and paint all the black.
oh, then maybe it's the maybe I did because like it is nice where the markings are sculpted. So I would have done it, painting the top ones. But you had to really study his face because sometimes it's like, wait, the is this raised part black or red? you ever come across Plo Koon's broken lightsaber blade? I did. I actually have it right here. It was somehow just on my desk in a not too hidden spot that I never saw. Uh, so I have it. I don't think I'm gonna do anything with it.
Because you
Um,
already replaced it
I already
before you found
replaced
it,
it. I
right?
was pretty happy with the replacement.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know, because it's like the thing is like the spots in his chest, the raised up spots are definitely the red. But
Yeah,
now
I
on
think
his
they might not be
face,
consistent. I
yeah, now
think
on
on
his
his
face,
face,
I
the
can't decide. I think it might be the other way around.
yeah, you need to look at some good reference pictures because, like, if you look, the back of his head is black, which I think is raised higher than the other bits. But I don't know. I had to like, I remember like really analyzing some reference pictures.
I,
What
um,
is this supposed to be?
I'm hating this so much right now.
Save the face for last. That's what I always do.
I gotta get my light down here to help me see where the dang marks are. Okay, no, the more I look at this, the more now I'm feeling like, yeah, the raised up bits are supposed to be the black. So, all
Hmm.
right then.
Feels
Yeah,
backwards.
that's why it was easier to
So yeah, so this is going to
kind of
be
pick those out freehand. They were on top.
so yeah, all right. So that's gonna change things a little bit. That's sort of annoying though that they flip flop from how it is on the chest.
Yeah.
Like I just started painting without even thinking about it, but then like the more I looked at it, I was like starting to question.
Once I get this box of terrain painted, it's just Bad Batch and the scenery from the Vader Obi-Wan pack that I have yet to paint for Shatterpoint. Bad Batch are the only minis in the entire game I have not yet painted. Feels like an accomplishment.
For sure.
I haven't even picked them up yet. Where I go
Oh,
to didn't pick them.
oh, you opened the Legion ones, right?
Yeah, they didn't send me the
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 Shatterpoint.
Shatterpoint stuff.
Yeah.
I do have assembled range troopers and clone commandos on my desk right now, but they're uh, unprimed and thinking about. I've just been busy and not feeling well all week, so haven't gotten a gameplay. Think about maybe trying to get a gameplay stream with this building. I am just dry brushing on real sloppy, different shades of gray, less than 50, and put the bronze on. On my previous ones, I sprayed them bronze, then masked it all off and sprayed it gray. This one, I'm not gonna hand paint all the bronze on, and
Sure, it looks good, but it sounds like a lot of work too.
maybe one day I'll get to that Buzz Lightyear ship because I like all my terrain. It's just I'm at the point where I would like a little bit more variety beyond the kind of stock standard stuff.
Yeah, I need to get back to it. I keep telling myself like, "Oh, I'll do some more work on it after this next squad or whatever," and then keep putting it off. I need to kit bash a few more extra details on it. Like I think it needs guns, and I need to figure out which wings I actually want to attach or like which spikes and which ones I want to like fill the holes in. I think like once I actually base coat it, I'll probably be compelled to just finish it. I haven't got that far.
I don't know how to close the Scott the Wolf Gamer says, my most recent painted Star Wars thing was the crashed escape pod scenario over Easter for Legion. That one was fun to paint. Unfortunately, I've never actually like the escape pod.
Yeah.
Uh, I've been meaning to like try out the scenarios because they seem like they would be fun. I have the crashed X-wing that I still need to paint.
The escape, I had a lot
Yeah.
of fun painting my escape pod. Just because it's like there's so much like weathering and fun
Yeah.
stuff you can do with that one, just to like make it look all beat up and crashed in the sand and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Problem with mine is I
It was-
painted it to match my theme at the time, which I guess is still my theme, but the crate, it looks kind of weird when I tried to make it look like crate. Light gray, white, and red. Did it land on a large creature and it just exploded
it's a Helldiver drop pod,
it?
crashed right into that Bile Titan.
I had a lot of fun painting the Weequay pirates. I finally played with them yesterday for our league, and they're kind of meh, at least in the one game I've tried. But it was fun. I did Hondo and Cad Bane, which means you only have 4 force to work with. And normally you have at least like
Wow.
6 or 7.
Be
But
tough.
between Hondo, Cad Bane, and Django, I was always refreshing force and actually never was like wishing I had more, which was kind of cool.
That sounds fun, at least.
Hondo's like when you start with him, you get to refresh a force for every objective your opponent controls.
Oh, wow.
I was gonna use Aura Singh, but she really sucks compared to Django. Django is cheaper.
That's too bad.
It's like, oh, Aura Singh, she used to bang Hondo. I should put her on this team. And then I was like, yeah, but Django's just so much better. Probably some kind of use for. It's hard to justify bringing her over Django.
It's really coming together, Leo. I like the light gray pants and shirt. Like that kind of makes the rest of the details pop.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it looks good
Um,
because I think the like the official color, it's more like a kind of a khaki or something.
yeah.
Um,
So to answer your question, Scott, yes, in fact, they have announced a terrain pack of, um, what is it? It's like some busted walls and stuff like that for Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah, some sort of apparently like modular walls too, so you can kind of assemble them how you like. And
We
it
don't
comes
know
with
yet if it like
has like a mouse droid, doesn't it? And a Camtono.
yeah. I was gonna say we don't know though if it comes with any like cards like the others have come with, missions or other objective type things. I
Yeah,
don't think they
I wouldn't be
think about that.
surprised if they do, just because I know in the past some stuff Fantasy Flight has said has sort of made it sound like the mission stuff was sort of like a licensing issue. Like they've always wanted,
Oh,
like when Fantasy Flight had talked about it in the past, it was sort of implied that they've wanted to more terrain, but it's like a licensing thing.
so like if you sell it without the gameplay element, it's like harder.
Yeah, I don't know,
That makes
but
sense, I
but I mean
guess.
clearly
Well,
at least for Shatterpoint,
yeah, there's nothing that comes with these terrain packs.
Atomic Mass has gotten around whatever the issues were. So
I
But
still think it's cooler if it does come with something. It's
yeah,
like a little more interesting to buy then.
yeah, like the X-wing one
Even though,
has
like you
kind
said,
of like
Joe, I haven't
rescue
actually
pilot.
played those objectives with those other ones, but it's cool that I have them.
Uh, Pigpog, I don't think any of us have played the scenario that comes with the Endor bunk.
No.
Yeah, my bunker is sitting at the very bottom of this stack of boxes back here,
Yeah, nice
waiting to be
stable
assembled.
base.
Yeah, it's a stable base for my Tower of Shame. Someday I'll get to it.
I think the escape pod is probably the one I would be the most likely to try. Although I guess I don't know the details of what's in the X-wing one.
The X-wing one has a pilot, and you're trying to um, rescue and extract the pilot, while the other team is trying to like capture them. Because it does come with a mini of a X-wing pilot who's like, I don't know, like on one knee firing a pistol or asking for help or something. I'm surprised they haven't had any official announcement of that garage terrain for Shatterpoint that we've known about forever.
Yeah, because they showed it at because it's handed on some tables at Adepticon, didn't they?
Every single Shatterpoint table at Adepticon had it.
Wow.
They
It's
showed
not
it
out yet?
previously on streams. They showed it comes with a Womp Rat. You know how like the other ones came with
Oh.
like a bird and a Loth Cat and a Gong Troy. This one comes with a Womp Rat. But it's weird that they haven't like it's not on the Asmodee store or anything, even though like this thing has existed for. New question. Kurt, the galaxy, the force, technology, creatures, or characters?
Say technology.
Star Destroyers have striking one-word names, as with the Inflictor and the Finalizer. What intimidating name would you use to christen a Star Destroyer?
Masticator.
The defenestrator.
Yeah.
That looks okay. I mean, it
The
looks
Destroyer.
his face looks not the greatest close up, but at table distance it'll be all right.
Star Destroyer Destroyer. That's the full name. It's the Star Destroyer
Uh,
Destroyer.
In the tradition of Star Destroyers such as the Inexorable and the Invincible, when I was in school and we were playing the old West End games RPG, me and my friends, we named our Star Destroyer the Inflammable.
Incontinent. That would be great for like a kind of a hapless villain character for an RPG campaign. Like they don't realize they gave it a dumb name.
That reminds me of the most like under the radar joke in Mass Effect. The Quarians in Mass Effect, their names are such and such Voss, the ship name. Tally goes by like Voss Normandy because she's part of the crew. And you meet a guy, and um, he's the captain of a ship called the Ictomy, and you're like, what?
Me.
And he's like, well, we take them from other cultures if they like sell them to us used, and we don't change the name. And then I think he also had a ship called like the Deferens.
uh, Where'd my other palette go? There it is.
Stardust. I feel like Obliterator is seems like a Star Destroyer name.
Yeah.
That's one where I'm like, there's got to be one already named that
Yeah, I bet.
somewhere in all of like Legends and stuff.
Like that.
Search.
I kind of
Wikipedia.
like those like Star Destroyer names that like don't mean anything outside of like out of context. Like in Legends, Isard's Super Star Destroyer, the Lusankia, like that's just like a weird Star Wars word.
If you told me that there was a ship called that, I would assume it was like a Soviet era warship from the 20s or something. The Obliterator was an Imperial class Star Destroyer under the command of Captain Trazen. It was at the Battle of Endor.
Legends. Legends, not canon.
The others were there was the Relentless, the Tyrannic, Iron Hand. That one's all right.
Yeah, that was Warlord Zinja's Super Star Destroyer.
Tyrannic.
No, the Iron Hand.
Pledged its
Zinj.
allegiance to a recuperated Grand Admiral Thrawn, who was in fact a con artist named Flim. Okay.
Yeah, that was in the Return of Thrawn duology from Timothy Zahn.
Spectre of the past and vision of the future. 1997. No, thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't the hugest fan of the Thrawn duology. I didn't actually like much of Zahn's other Legends books other than the original trilogy. Like, um, Outbound Flight was like kind of okay, but I still didn't dig it all that much.
I
Shiny.
am currently reading The Living Force, John Jackson Miller's first novel since A New Dawn. Well, not his first Star
His
Wars novel.
first Star Wars novel in quite a while. Yeah.
He had done some like short stories for Insider and stuff, but
Yeah, and he wrote some in some of the From a Certain Point of Views, hadn't he? Also.
yeah. But so far, I'm liking it because it's about. It starts off about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, but I think it's about the Jedi Council and all 12 of them, time of before the Phantom Menace, which is kind of fun. All going away to some place because the problem that Qui-Gon is like, guys, this this sucks, and you guys need to think real hard about what you're going to do about it. Is they are shuttering a number of Jedi temples, and as the Jedi pull out, because like I don't know, trade routes are shifting, so they're not needed or something. I don't know that the Jedi temples are like shutting down, and when they shut down, all the people who live there like suffer because like crime picks up and all this stuff. Qui-Gon's like, everybody's hurting, and you guys are just like going to meetings with the Chancellor all the time instead of like trying to help people. That's kind of sucks. And they're like, oh, maybe we should think about that.
So, question, Joe, about Geonosians.
uh,
What color do you think the spear is? Did you do yours as a wood color or just all metal or what?
I
Hard to tell. Like,
can you bring
you
up
can
the
barely
YouTube
even see it.
video that I made about it because I don't remember.
Guess so. It needs to be accurate.
I could probably look at a reference and reinterpret it.
I'm trying to find a
Yeah.
good one. It's just kind of like a blurry background guy, you know?
Geonosians.
Action figures are
God,
ridiculous.
they're so freaky in Public Commando. The guy who's riding the horse dog in the movie, it's clearly like a metal color.
What
This
color?
action figure, what?
A what color?
It's like a silver metallic.
Whole length
This,
is silver.
yeah, this depends
Hmm.
on what I'm seeing. A action figure that has a different mold. One's brown, that one's gray.
I don't trust the action figures.
Yeah, some of the action figures are like really fucked up colors.
With the yeah, when I was looking for Geonosian references and looking at action figures, I'm like, oh my god, the people making the action figures have no idea what colors these guys are. Which is fair because they are just sort of very mottled brown and green that's hard to pin down and like if you only get one color to mold your toy in.
This silver makes sense. It's the Mandalorian spear. It's from Geonosis.
Oh my god, they had a Beskar spear. The guy who goes, yeah, had a Beskar spear.
I don't know who that guy is.
When they go, I truly, if we're gonna die, I want you to know that I love you. And then they kiss. And then the little dude goes, yeah.
Nope.
Maybe
Nope.
that guy wasn't the guy with the spear. There was a different guy with a spear. They're hurting in the animals.
I
The
just
guy who
remember him
gets eaten
like
by the
flying and
Nexu.
poking. Yeah.
The Nexu. Hold on. The Nexu. Oh, that's not the Dark Saber. I don't think the spear follows Dark Saber rules. I was going to say, does that mean Padme is the rightful owner of the spear? Because the Nexu killed the spear guy and Padme killed the Nexu. Vader killed Padme. Or did she kill herself? I still like to think it was medical malpractice.
That the Uba droid was actually a double agent working for Palpatine.
I think they just either didn't know much about human anatomy and were doing their best, or they were like vet techs, or like they just weren't qualified and they screwed up. And they're like, yeah, hey, how's she doing? They're like, for reasons we can't explain, she's lost a will to live. And then they're like, oh my god, please buy it, please buy it, please buy it. And they're like, okay, that checks out. They're like, whew.
Obi-Wan like
Just a-
ran up to the droids and he was like, "We need help. She's got a bun in the oven." And so these like bakery droids came out and like, "Okay."
That's what the baby scooper was, just like an oven mitt. I love how the droid has like
Yeah.
a lacrosse thing to like scoop out the baby. Oopa. Oopa. If anyone's tried that on their partner giving birth, does that help? If you went up to them in labor and went, oopa.
I guarantee
let
so
me
has.
let me tell you, when your wife is in labor, they don't appreciate humor quite the same way as when they're not in labor. So
Yeah, but has anyone tried? That was the question. I wasn't expecting them to go, ha, I get it.
I mean, I didn't try that joke, but the first time, the second time round, we kept it all pretty serious.
Who is your favorite Star Wars villain?
Hmm.
I guess I get pick
Probably
Cad
Darth Vader.
Bane.
I don't know.
I think Boba Fett counts too. Boba Fett is. I guess he's a little reformed these days, but I still think he counts as a
I
villain.
mean,
I still pick Cad Bane.
still got to be Thrawn for me. I mean, he's been my favorite since, you know, the 90s, so
Hudar Mubat. If we're going to the villains I was interested in the 90s. That was the fascinating character that from the War of the Bounty Hunters trilogy. There's like this information broker that is basically like an asteroid, sort of. Like if the asteroid was like a huge chunk of organic mush
He's
that you could land your ship in and like talk to.
he's Ego, the living planet.
Sort of. But he had like all these little like, oh, let me hatch this like this little bug that's part of me that like has sub functions, and like I have to like reconsume them lest they get too smart and take over the whole operation. It's like, well, that's really weird in sci-fi, and that's a lot more interesting than just like a guy. He was eventually overthrown by his accountant, like bug, because it was like so irreplaceable that he never got around to like eating it.
Oh man,
Kinda cool.
the eyes. This is gonna.
I don't know.
Thoughts
There's a
on
lot of
Yellow?
good villains. I like Vader. I like, Jabba's cool.
Um,
I like
I guess
Palpatine in certain movies.
I put for now. I put Marchion Rowe up there with.
Oh
the best
yeah,
of them.
Marchand Rowe is really cool. Like I like I've said, I think I will say I haven't read any of Phase 3 yet. I haven't got around to it, but at least like in Phase 1, the dude is like out Thrawning Thrawn for sure.
Yeah, because in the
I better
first
get a
book,
smart.
you're like, oh, he's just this crazy kind of warlord pirate guy, and then you're like, oh, it's one of them 4D chess kind of guys.
Dooku's cool too. I like Dooku a lot.
Yeah, I've always really liked Dooku. He's like a legitimate, very terrible, evil person, but with like, like, oh, he was like left because the Jedi sucked, and then he just had to go suck harder, I guess, in a different way.
Yeah, it's like sort of like that. He's like the embodiment of that, like that Onion article where it's like the worst person you know makes a good point or something like that.
Yeah. I liked the Dooku Jedi Lost was really good. I just read the script because I didn't like the audio drama production, but because it has flashbacks of him as like a Padawan with his buddy Sifo Dyas, and it's almost sort of like Hogwartsy, where they're like going into like the forbidden zone in the archives to look at all these dark side things, and then him later where he's, I think it's when he's left the Jedi or thinking about it. A lot of those books from that time period have a lot of cool looks into, and I also really like the Tales of the Jedi about Dooku.
Still have not got around to watching that.
I did not care for the
Okay.
Ahsoka episodes. I really liked the Dooku one.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for Tales from the Empire.
yeah, that looks way more interesting to me at least.
I hope it doesn't contradict anything from the Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade novel, because I really liked that novel. The Hiking Cucumber says hi, guys.
Hello.
We're discussing our favorite Star Wars villain. We're talking about Dooku at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just really glad that Rise of the or Tales from the Empire is gonna finally give some closure to Barris's story. Like,
Yeah.
Based
for
on
real.
nothing, this is how I hope it goes. I hope they make her kill Luminara, because we know they've got her corpse on ice somewhere. So maybe Barris is the reason that she got iced. Or, more interestingly, I would rather her decide, actually, this sucks, and then Vader kills her. Because she's sort of like Dooku in that she goes, hey guys, the Jedi, not what they're supposed to be, but then somehow becomes like even more, like actual like extra evil instead of just like evil by complacency.
Yeah, it would
Like,
be
oh,
interesting to
like you
see
made a
if she
great
has to
point.
reckon with it in any way, you know?
Yeah. Like, hey, Barris, you're right. The Jedi are not who they should be. Maybe don't do a terrorism to like make that point. That's kind of weird messaging. Um, I hope we see the some of the main character from the Inquisitor novel. That novel was really good. It was about a Padawan and her struggles to sort of fit in, and then he was sort of like soft groomed by Palpatine and in a few random meetings. And then when Order 66 comes, like the clones are like, not her. Like you come with us or you die. Everyone else we're gonna shoot on sight. But you can like get on our ship and like she's like, all right, that sounds fine. She was like the one Jedi who like didn't need to be like tortured into becoming an Inquisitor. It was a pretty cool book.
Let's see if I can.
It could be really interesting if they go into like what does Vader think like cuz like when he was Anakin, he like tried to catch her, tried to stop her, whatever. So she's like a bad guy to him in some ways, a former enemy. But like now they're on the same side because like honestly, she was trying to attack the people who he later realized were traitors. So like maybe he's okay with her now, or
I
is he here? Or
my understanding of Vader is he would just view her. She's nothing different than a stormtrooper at this point. None of them are. There's they're just
what's her
tools.
current value?
Yeah. He doesn't his prior feelings about her are
Oh my god. These fucking eyes.
yeah, and unfortunately Maul's not one you can get away with ignoring painting the eyes on. He had yellow eyes. Whatever that line from A Christmas Story is.
Okay.
The other thing that was funny is in the Inquisitor book, she always like wished she had more access to different knowledge that the Jedi didn't let her have. And then when she became an Inquisitor, there was nothing that was forbidden, but they also aren't into sharing, so all the good books had already been like taken by like the other Inquisitors, and they're not going to share with you. So she's like, "Oh, I still can't read
There we
anything I want
go.
to read."
That actually looks pretty darn good after I clean up around the edges. I don't know how good it's actually showing up on this camera, but because they're just two tiny little yellow dots, basically. But trust me, guys, it looks great.
Yeah, tune into the Discord for like a after picture.
All right, what do we got? Oh,
Maybe.
Templar.
Definitely be posting some Geonosian photos later. I finished 3 of the non-heavy weapon guys, including their bases here, so I'll take a picture at some point tonight.
So I'm gonna be
Now
using
I'm
my
starting
null
on heavy
oil.
weapons.
I gotta pull this guy out here. My don't spill your null oil thingy.
Whatever helps.
Yeah, this was a gift from Joe.
You're the most Billy guy I knew. Seems useful.
Well, I'm proud to be the guy who spills their null oil the most. I mean, that's what all this down here in the bottom of the screen. That's all stains from null oil spills.
Yeah, my mat has a few of those, but I think there was one null oil and one some contrast paint that luckily I almost never use. I'm like, oh, okay.
I think I want to actually, although now that I'm thinking about this, I think I actually want to water this, thin this. I don't think I want to do just a pure null oil washer. It might get too. Eh.
Unalni?
Yeah.
What is a nuln?
Oh. That thing.
I forget it's something from Warhammer, I think, or the Warhammer Fantasy.
Nuln.
But I forget if it's a place or a creature or what person.
Nuln, called the Bastion of the South and the Jewel of the... Oh, it's a place. Not a...
City.
It's the capital of the electoral province of Visenland, second largest city of the empire, and exporter of imperial black powder. But do they export oil? The word oil does not appear anywhere. The word oil is referred to gun manufacturing, but wow, they made some Nuln oil, and Nuln doesn't even make oil. Look, Game Workshop. And that's why I don't mess with Warhammer.
Okay, now we got like a 50-50 mix of null oil and medium, so it shouldn't.
All right, everybody.
Get quite so splotchy.
Another question.
All right.
In 10 words or less.
And then I just realized that I forgot to paint the horns. Dummy.
You can do those last. In 10 words or less, how would you describe the Force to someone who's never seen Star Wars?
Magic.
Yeah. That's a dumb question. Oh, it's just...
Like mind powers.
It's just like... If they...
It's whatever
it's
the
like
writer
chi.
decides it is.
It's like magic mixed with like Eastern philosophy. It's chi. Done.
Like airbending mixed with Harry Potter.
Magic you get from bacteria.
It's like the Matrix mixed with
Making another Matrix movie.
They are really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Which could be okay if it's entirely... If it leaves Neo and Trinity behind, could be fun to play in that world, because I genuinely loved Resurrections. The fight choreography, not nearly as good as any of the previous films, but I really like the story.
I loved the first half of that movie. The second half, to me, just felt sort of like a rerun through The Matrix's greatest hits, you know, like...
Sort of.
Yeah.
I did like that, like, they're like, okay, The Matrix, like, this entire world can only exist because of, like, their love. I'm like, well, that's cool sci-fi. Like, it's like just a love story. But I also just liked the kind of updated world of the Matrix, where they, rather than using agents, they just have like a bunch of NPCs that they can activate. I was like, oh, that seems like it would be a fun world to play in for more stories. Seems like it'd be better to like have a video game or something. I think if they leave Neo and Trinity behind, it could be fine to just tell a different story.
I agree with Leo that I liked the first half the best. That was when it was like the most interesting and like different from other Matrix movies. Like, oh, what's going on here? This is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and like
and then the second half, it felt like they abandoned a lot of the interesting stuff they set up. You know, I was like, oh, we're done with that. Those characters are not in the movie anymore.
Yeah, and then there was like, I don't know. Yeah, like they just had too many scenes that just sort of felt like, hey, remember this guy?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not like them bringing like the Merovingian back to like curse.
That was
in
the worst
background.
part in the whole movie. It was like, this callback didn't need to
Remember this guy? Yeah. I do
Huh.
remember that guy, and I didn't care for him. So does it help me? Yeah.
What color should I do for his horns though? Because they are kind of yellowish. They're like
I would do
they're like
a.
a yellow tan, but I don't really have a color that quite
You
matches
have
it.
T-bone.
like a sandy color, some kind of bone color, and then you could hit them with agrax and then re-highlight just the tips, and that should be
That's probably
cool.
the easiest.
Skeleton bone is too.
Well, skeleton bone with a brown wash and then highlighted.
Crocodile yellow in this really cool bullet shaped paint pot. These
Like
paints
when your
suck.
beard is just on the edge of camera.
Just a guest appearance by the tip of my beard.
Yeah.
That's the next content craze, will be painting with your. Not even just like you
Like I'd
could
dip my
probably
beard
make it.
in the paint and then on the mini.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, that's what we need to get a lot of new viewers, right?
We need to get.
Is a special painting technique that everyone can have discourse about.
Oh god.
This is
Yeah.
the Jodo method. Use your beard like
Beard
a
chop.
sponge.
I don't think this is gonna work because I haven't used this paint in so long because it's a fucking garbage. So now I can't get it out of the pot.
You're just telling me that never happens to you when I was complaining about.
I was talking about my army painter paints,
Oh.
not this
Well,
Team Yankee shit. We're just cutting the end of the.
no, you gotta squeeze it as hard as possible. See what
There we
happens.
go.
Explodes.
It's coming out. Here it comes.
Yeah, because I'm throwing this away when I'm done anyway, so I don't care. But I've
You
just
know.
destroyed this stupid paint pot.
Siphon.
Siphon it, yeah.
This Team Yankee paint is garbage. Don't ever buy Team Yankee paint, people.
And only trust paints that come from England.
It's like, what if
Where's Army Painter from? I feel like all of them are from Europe, aren't they?
Yeah, I was thinking Army Painter was like Denmark or something.
Army Painter
or
made in the
Netherlands.
EU? Looks like their office is in Herning, Denmark.
Okay, how about
That's-
Vallejo? Are they in like Spain?
That sounds about right. Like,
Gee, oh.
Vallejo. Man, the brass color I use on my terrain. I had a lot less of it than I thought, and what is remaining is already doing the Citadel kind of gunk and clump thing.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'm gonna have enough to.
I don't usually have that trouble with their
You're just blessed, aren't you?
with their I was gonna say with their metallics, like their whites and grays. That I do.
This is a pretty new pot too, because I bought this specifically for Shatterpoint terrain.
But how long was it on the shelf at the store before you picked it up?
I do think your environment has something to do with it too, just because you're in Arizona where it's, you know,
Where everything sucks.
yeah,
They
where
ship you all the
everything is
worst
awful.
Everything is awful. Everything sucks when you live in Arizona.
Up the winters.
Says
Big
you.
Cog asks, what is the absolute worst paint y'all have ever worked with?
Dutch boy.
Or like Citadel White Scar or something?
Yeah, I would say any white from Citadel is just. I would something I would never touch again.
I guess let me be real. When I first started painting, my dad bought me testers,
Oh, yeah.
which is
Mm-hmm.
oil based. It was
Uh-huh.
like for painting model cars, so it was like metallic gloss uh oil paint. That was bad for painting space marines with.
Had
And
Um,
some
house paint.
sisters.
I used house paint. That was bad.
this right here. This is the worst, most garbage color ever. Army Painter Babe Blonde from there.
Babe Blonde.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And not only is the name garbage, the actual quality of the paint is just like
What a Danish name.
you could put like a thousand coats on and you will still see whatever is underneath it.
That was my second pick besides Citadel's white paints would be oranges and yellows from Army Painter.
Which is part of the reason why I'm so excited to finally get some of those um, fanatic paints. Like the next time, if I have to do something with a bunch of like yellow or orange on it, I'm definitely like I don't even care if I'm not out of the color in the paints I already own. I'm gonna go buy some of those fanatics to try out.
I need to get. So I don't particularly like a Wrecker sculpt for Shatterpoint. He's just holding some kind of random debris.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird sculpt, I thought.
And I wanted to change what was in his hands. And I thought a B2 or a B1 being ripped in half would be perfect. However, I don't have an extra B1. And I was actually talking about that with Simone at She's like, if only you knew somebody who had access to those. See if she'll send me one because they only come in the core set. It's not like I'm going to buy an extra core set. And I'm not probably find like a 3D sculpt of one, but I think that'd be really cool if he was pulling a battle droid in him. The alternative, I thought, is I could maybe repose his shoulders so his hands are straight up and have him be deadlifting the gonk droid
That'd be
like
cool.
he does in the show.
I
However,
don't know
I
how
think
easy that one is to repose. I feel like a
yeah,
lot of Shatterpoint are not.
I have to get my hands on the mini to see if that would be easy to redo because also I don't know if this because there are many ethnicities of gonk droid, and I think the one that came in Shatterpoint terrain is different than Gonki, or maybe it's just because Gonki is a little stylized. Um, there's a few varieties of gonk droids, and I think this is the one that Gonki is.
Ugh, this brush has seen better days.
Start beard brush. Could make it just a company. People send in their beard hair. You turn them into brushes. Painting accessories for men.
I could see someone being all like, you know what girls like? Horses. And horsehair, so using horsehair brushes or whatever, that's for girls. You need manly beard hair brushes. I don't even know. Do
Brushes
they
made
still
from
make
gorilla
brushes with
hair.
horsehair?
I think the expensive ones are. I think the Rosemary and Co's do. My brushes just don't last long enough for me to ever want to buy expensive brushes.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm like,
apparently a brush abuser.
yeah, like sometimes I'm all like, oh, maybe if I got some nicer brushes, I would, take better care of them. But then the other part of me is all like, nah, you're too lazy for that.
Yeah, I just get cheap sets on Amazon. I did step it up a little bit from I used to just have these like 50 packs of brushes that would last very short amount of time, and then I would throw one and grab the next one. But
Like every brush
I,
stroke.
I did buy like a instead of like the $10 50 pack, I got like the $12 6 pack or whatever. So
Wow.
Moving on up.
And
Some real
fancy.
bougie paintbrushes. Ah, a hair came off my brush and stuck to Maul's head. It's not appropriate. He's supposed to be bald.
Darth bald.
How would Maul
Is
look
he
if he decided to grow his hair out like Asajj did? Like
well? Like Zabraks aren't naturally bald because we've seen Ajan Kolar and Eth Koth have hair.
mhm.
So unless they're wearing a wig or Maul shaves his head, which or
Maybe that's a
Maybe
light side only
Eth
power.
Koth does. He's like jealous of the other Jedi and their hair.
yeah, it's a light side power to just grow hair, or it's a dark side effect: yellow eyes and going bald.
Mm-hmm.
I
I believe
mean,
it.
we
That
saw that
George
And
Anakin.
Lucas
episode
We
wanted.
12
saw
gave
that
him that.
Anakin was when Luke took his helmet off.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was because of the dark side. That George Lucas wanted to say, "Hey, you know what? Bald equals evil. Cantina
That's how we
band.
knew that. Like that's how they knew that. Like Assange knew that Quinlan Voss hadn't really fallen to the dark side because
Yeah. Obviously,
he still had hair.
Dooku wore a toupee.
That's actually what Plagueis was researching, was not how to like be
To
immortal or
create
anything. Just
life in the hair follicles.
Create hair follicles, yeah.
Man, would be cool if Darth Plagueis was in the Acolyte.
Mm,
I'm a little skeptical that we'll see that.
yeah, I would just rather
Might even be before his
not.
time. Who knows?
Like some of those mysteries of the Sith are better left unanswered.
yeah. That's a book. The Plagueis book is one I've never really understood why it's as popular as it is.
I
There's
never read it.
I honestly I like there's a lot of interesting information in the book, I thought, but like the book itself I thought was really boring to read.
That's how I would have described the Tarkin novel by
That
him.
well, yeah, that's how I feel about that book too. Is that it's like it's the most interesting, really boring book I've ever read. Well, I can't find my Agarax, so we're gonna go with some of our army painter strong tone instead.
What's an Agrax? There. You have Seraphim Sepia.
Yeah, but I don't want Seraphim Sepia. That's I don't want that reddish tone to it.
I thought it was more of a yellowy tone. I can never remember what the difference was. I thought it was a little bit yellower than Agrax. Oh, here's a question I made up that feels like it could be one of the conversation cards.
Okay.
Maul, his brother's name is Savage. In the show, we also see Savage's brother. Savage has another brother named Farrell. What are the rest of the siblings' names?
Uh,
Riptorn.
Riptord.
What's their birth names? Because like Savage and Farrell already having those names implies that Maul was called that before he became a Sith. Which means he also didn't get a Sith name.
Palpatine couldn't come up with a new Sith name.
Darth. What's your name, kid?
Actually, it's already a pretty good Sith name. You know, just keep it.
Yeah, that goes hard.
You know what? I can't top that, so we'll just stick with it.
I also wonder if he had Vader queued up or if that was off the dome. Because the way he
Like,
acts it looks like he just thought of it on the spot. Darth Vader. Yeah, okay.
you don't like your Darth name, and you're like, what?
Earth.
Come on, try again, pal.
Vader?
Like, wait a minute.
Take another shot
We've
at
got
this one.
Sidious and Tyrannus and all these like evil names, and I'm just some word. Can it be like Darth Brutalicus?
Oh. Brutalicus the Gentle. I'm having trouble coming up with more synonyms. Honestly, I keep coming back to the same words. Going savage.
Wild. Wild with like a Y. Crazy.
Wolverine. Darth Wolverine.
Oh my
His
god, they
lightsaber
should make that a
claws.
movie. Like he has
And they could have
lightsaber
Ryan Reynolds.
claws?
He has three lightsabers that come out of his fists.
Oh my god, that would be so cool. And like he uses the dark side to heal himself. Ugh. This building is tedious. All right, new question. Question is, choose an animal on our planet to model a Star Wars species after. Which animal did you pick and what would the species look like? Now they're just outsourcing design work to
What?
us.
It's like, okay, well, I choose like a frog, and they look like a frog.
There are a number of things that I feel like have gone very underutilized in sci-fi creature or alien design. Namely, most things that live underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got a fish guy. What about like, why are there? Well, the answer is effects budgets, but like there should be like people like octopi or chameleons that their skin changes color rapidly and all of the time. Or like give us just an octopus guy who has no bones. Like picture Admiral Akbar, but instead of humanoid, he's got extra tentacles and has no bones. There should be more insect creatures.
I would
Or
just want more fuzzy, cuddly cat people.
yeah, I'm glad they brought the gerbil person back for Bad Batch.
Yeah,
That like background
that was a
character
good
from
one.
Solo.
I feel like there's room for more reptiles that aren't just basic lizard man too. Like they could do more creative reptile or amphibian sort of
Chameleon. Give me more
things.
chameleons. Give me guy with the chameleon clampy hands and the
I mean,
swivel eyes.
I feel like the one of the coolest Star Wars aliens is like the least related to uh an Earth animal, which is like Ithorians. I mean, like
Uh huh.
their hammerhead eyes is a little bit like a hammerhead shark, but like barely. Mostly, they don't look at all like any Earth animal, and I think that's like one of the coolest ones.
I want somebody who just has chameleon eyes. So the eyes are on the side of their head and they're constantly darting in every direction, which would give the main character trouble when like having a conversation. Be like, are they even paying attention to me?
I feel like there could be more winged uh species if we're talking
Yeah,
like people too, not just like animals.
there was interestingly in one of the higher public books. There's a phase 2 book, so I don't recommend reading it because the phase 2 books were kind of boring. Unless they are the young adult ones about Martyr Row. In any case, in one of the, I think it was a young reader one, they go to this planet and there's basically a species of bat people, but like their wings are like vestigial. Like they have
Sounds cool.
big old bat wings, but they can't fly, so it's just sort of like decorative, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Like cicada people. Cicadas are cool.
No, they're gross.
He's the only person who likes cicadas.
Be that as it may.
Uh, what about like, we can turn something on its head. Just take like a shrew, but make it the size of like an elephant. Something totally harmless, but when you make it that big, it becomes just sort of an inherent threat because it might step on you. And you could even have like a sight gag with like the camera, like looking at, because so many movies have an establishing shot of like a mouse, like, and then get the mouse gets spooked, and then like the subject of the shot appears. Well, you have the mouse, and then it zooms out. Oh, turns out the mouse is the size of a building. You're
It's funny
welcome,
too because I
filmmakers.
think elephant shrew is a real type of shrew, isn't it?
I think so. We need more viruses. Just,
What about like weird beetles? Like there's some really gross beetles like uh is it Hercules beetle or something?
yeah,
Like
there
you
should
could
be
use those to make some really gross bug people.
in general, there should just be more beetles because I think might be by number of species and by like physical biomass, beetles are the number one creature on Earth. One of those facts is probably right. Somebody go ahead and fact check that. But
I feel like crabs or
yeah,
other types of crustaceans
we
or
got Therm Scissor Punch, whatever species he
that's
is,
true.
and weirdly enough, he's old and in the High Republic.
Okay.
You know what? That's what I want more than anything. More than like, hey, give me someone with, skin that changes color like a chameleon. Give me a fucking species that like 30 is old age. It's like the best thing about the Solonians in Mass Effect is like 50 is like ass old for them. And increasingly every species in Star Wars, especially with the higher public, we're like, oh well, we want Dexter Jetster in these stories. Like, okay, yep, that species also lives to be at least 300. Give me some species that have a shorter lifespan than a human. Because that's interesting. It's not interesting to have the
Yeah.
character who can keep showing up in every era.
Yeah, it starts to feel like a cop out very quickly. Oops, I missed the wings on this guy.
Okay, what is the coolest alien species that is introduced in every movie that's not A New Hope?
Hmm.
I don't think there are
Good
many
answer.
new species introduced in Empire.
Yeah, your choices
Tauntaun,
are like, yeah,
Wampa,
Mostly
and Ugnaught.
monsters.
yeah.
Ugnaught. I do like Ugnaughts though, so I think that's a good one.
Uh, I guess
Return of
Trandoshan.
the
No, Trandoshans
Jedi.
were in A New Hope, I think.
I think there was a Saurian in
Yeah,
A New
that's
Hope.
right.
So Trandoshan's a good answer. I mean, Zuckuss also. I like Gand. They're cool bug guys.
You ever see one
Hmm.
without their mask?
I don't know.
Yeah, I,
Freaky.
I like the fact we learned on one of our last painting streams is that some Gans speak by farting out their mouths, like they literally, yeah, spew
Huh.
flatulence out their mouths.
I forgot about that. For re-educating me.
Always a fun fact to know about the
Uh,
Gand.
Return of the Jedi has a bunch. It's hard to pick. I mean, I do just like Ewoks, but
yeah,
uh,
I like the
Decoys, Klatooinians,
Yuzum.
Ictos. I
Just
mean,
the Yuzum looks
Huts
like fucking.
originally, Huts would have been in Return of the Jedi first.
Yep.
Yezums, whatever Sice Noodle species is, Ortolans for Max Rebo,
Yeah, there's a lot of
a
good.
bunch.
Those ones are all.
Aliens also with the Rebels. It's like Prune Face, right? I think it's just, or no, it might, maybe that's not the right
There's
name.
also Celestin. No,
Prune Face.
Dracelian is Prune Phase.
Ooh, ooh. I do like Celestins a lot. I like Nine Nunb a lot.
Well, news for you: Nine Num is getting his first ever Lego minifigure sometime this year, I
Wow.
think.
He's never had one before, really?
Apparently not. I saw some.
Surprising.
He just
I
had to die to finally get the honor, I guess.
think he might also be one of those because it's the something anniversary of Lego Star Wars 25th, and all of these sets have like these one-off unrelated minis in them. Like the R2D2 had a Darth Malik figure. I think he's going to be
Okay.
one of those weird ass like anniversary like, hey, buy the set just because you want this guy. I dare you. Uh, I think I pick Sice Noodle species for Return of the Jedi
Wow.
just because it's one of those that
Horny on
is a
Maine.
puppet and not a and not an actor in a costume because like Reese and Gran and all these guys it's just a guy in a mask and it's more interesting to me when you can make a character that doesn't look like a guy
Yeah, that's fair.
or at least a puppet because that that video about Star Wars species talking about all of them did point out how the desire to make it not look like a guy in a costume may have been why the sequel movies had samey alien designs.
But they did have a few really creative ones where it was a puppet thing like that, and those are
Yeah.
some of the coolest ones in the movie. We're not to that movie yet. Well, I guess we could be on Force
Oh,
Awakens.
let's go to Phantom Menace.
Okay.
There's Doug are pretty creative.
Yeah, Doug are cool. I mean, even Watto.
Oh yeah.
Why am I blanking?
Brilliant.
Toydarian. Toydarians are pretty cool. Neomoidians.
Eh,
Just like more
Boring.
racist versions of Duros. But some of the, I don't know. There's some cool ideas with like some of the Neomoidians, like some of the ones that have like cybernetic eyes or goggles or whatever. And there's some cool stuff, but not as interesting as the other ones. Bunch of random pod racer species that are pretty silly.
Oh yeah.
And Quaternaros and
some new
the other
Jedi
ones.
Council species too.
Oh yeah, a bunch, honestly.
Urail Poof and what's his face? Aporancisis, like
Hmm.
snake wizard beard guy. That was kind of cool.
Hmm. Not to be stereotypical, but I don't think Gungans are that great of a species design. What are some other ones? I mean, that was the first time we saw a Zabrak in, I guess, actually in anything, right? I don't think there was any Zabrak before that. So, I mean,
Mm,
Zabrak are a good one.
Yeah, that was new for the movie. Zabrak are boring. It's just, hey, what if we added a couple little horns to this?
yeah, things like
Sometimes keep it to bullets.
Zabrak and what is it like Barris's Miri Allen? Is that what they are?
Yes.
She is.
Hmm.
Like those ones are just like,
The worst one,
what if
at least.
humans? But or no,
Yeah,
the worst one is I don't think he is anymore. But in Legends, Mace
Kifar.
Windu was not human.
Oh,
My
there
gosh.
are a number of Legends species that there's literally one that's humans but Asian. And I think there's
Great.
also one called that's just humans but like a little person. Uh,
Mhm.
I think the one that bugs me the most that's canon is Kifar, which is human but they have a little face paint. Quinlan Voss is one of those. Who's
Oh
up there
yeah.
It's like, did that need to come into canon? Like, couldn't you just say he's a human with face paint?
Suppose Iktachi. I think we saw a Jedi Iktachi in Phantom
Is
Menace.
he
Kind of
is
cool.
Satan in the Phantom Menace?
Maybe it's Deck. I don't know.
No, he is. He is because I'm reading that book and he's a character in it.
Oh.
Plo Koon would have
Howdy.
been in Phantom Menace as well.
Ooh. Oh yeah. That's probably the top for me. I like Keldor a lot. They're cool.
Yeah, I agree. Plo Koon is awesome.
Howdy Galia was
I
in.
dislike that species a lot. Tholothian.
They're weird head fronds.
Right. It's like that should have just been a human with a hat. It could have
Yeah.
just you could have said that's just decorative. That's not part of the anatomy. That would have worked. It's also annoying to me that Adigalia and Heathcoth, or it's Heathcoth and Agent Kolar, and Adigalia and
Forget the other one's name.
Gasoli. Those are only different characters because the actor was recast between films, and they
Yeah.
decided to make it a different character.
Oh,
But like,
people can tell this is a different actress. Oh, maybe we should call it a different person, even though it's wearing the same costume.
I think they should have just been, hey, this background character got recast.
Yeah,
That's
maybe don't care that
fine.
much.
But now I can never remember which is which.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's interesting that, as far as I'm aware, the only uh, all Tholothian depictions. I think there's only been 3, and they're that I'm aware of. It's Dasali, Adigalia, and I forget her name. Ty Yorick in the High Republic. The only 3 we've ever seen, they're all black women, which is just kind of interesting.
Oh, we missed
Do they all?
Yoda in Empire, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Pretty cool species.
yeah, a classic. That's one of the
I feel
thing
like
that
there's probably
is
some more
unique
Phantom
about
Menace ones.
humans and Twi'leks in Star Wars is they tend to have the most like genetic diversity.
Oh, we missed Twi'leks in Return of the Jedi. That's a classic.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's close to Zabrak where it's okay. It's a human with X,
Yeah,
but
but
it's more
still
interesting than the
a
other
good
ones.
idea.
Yeah, I always feel stuff
It stood the test of time.
like Zabraks and Mira Allen's. I think I started saying this and never finished it, but they feel more like Star Trek aliens and Star Wars aliens to me.
Sure.
Chiss falls into
Mhm.
that as well. Chiss and
Which one did you say?
Pantorans. What if humans bled
Oh, yeah.
blue?
Yeah.
I gotta step away for a little bit.
You won't even notice.
Okay, well, I'll leave you with one more question before
Just
I
kidding.
wait. Ooh, it's a big one. Would you rather have a lightsaber with blades that spin, like the Inquisitors of Obi-Wan Kenobi, or a lightsaber blade that transforms into a whip like Vernestra Rowe, a Jedi Knight of the Republic? I will, before I leave, I'm going to tell you I goddamn hate Vernestra's light whip. I love Vernestra as a character. I'm excited that she's in the Acolyte. I hate the light whip. I think it's stupid. Uh, discuss. Okay, I'll be back whenever. Maybe never. Who knows? Bye.
I think both of them seem very dangerous to the wielder.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
maybe the spinning is a little less dangerous because you kind of have more control over it.
I find the light whip to be way less dumb than the Inquisitors spinning lightsabers.
Oh, really?
Like I laughed out loud the first time that happened in Rebels. I was like, what is going on here?
I feel like they could make better use of the spinning. Like they kind of just turn it on and stand there, and I feel like you could
I will say
do
just
stuff with it.
just spinning is like okay, but when they turn them into fucking helicopters, that's when I really
And you,
lose it. Man, I can't believe this. I'm probably going to actually finish a mini, minus maybe the basing, but finish a mini on stream. I think that's a first for us.
yeah, that's great.
I mean,
I mean, I think probably Joe has finished some, but
no, well, okay. I meant me finishing one. It's a first. It's a first for us having me finish one like this, because anybody who follows us knows that I paint slow as shit.
I mean, I never do a mini in like one session of any sort.
Yeah,
I always break it up.
yeah. I'm usually like over the course of like a week or so paint a mini.
Yeah.
So pretty much finishing this guy in one night is um, quite the feat for me. And not only that, but I'm like actually really happy with the way he's looking.
Nice. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, I think overall it's turned out pretty good. Like the face markings could have been a little cleaner and stuff, but like I said, I think it's one of those things where like you're not gonna see it at the table, so I'm okay with it.
I forget. Have you done other Shatterpoint minis before this one?
I've painted, I've completed Rex. Um, I have his two clones like partially done.
Hmm?
And then I've just got like a quick and dirty like contrast paint job on Anakin. And that's all I've done for Shatterpoint because it's like, you know, if you're not like it's hard to get motivated to paint something that you're not interested in putting on the table, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But we needed something to paint tonight, and I had this Darth Maul all primed up and ready to go. So, and and I might actually try and get in a game now just so I can show him off because I'm pretty happy with how he's looking.
Nice. Yeah.
So uh, But yeah, back to Joe's question, I guess I feel like the light whip bothers me less also than the helicopter sabers, just because it also has like a legends pedigree, like
Hmm.
uh Lumia, Luke's evil girlfriend, used a light whip in Legends.
Hmm.
So it's a thing that's been around before in the past. Yeah, just now just some like silver highlights, and I think I'm gonna call this guy done once I can find my bright silver. Where is it? Like I have like paint organizer shelves, and yet I mean, as you can see, I've just got piles of paints sitting here. Though I like always
Hmm.
end up never putting them back when I'm done with them until I finally hit uh like a breaking point, and I'm like, okay, it's time. I need to um clean everything, and I put it all back on the shelves again until the next time I paint, and then it's all back on the table again. This Rune Fang steel garbage paint. I like, like Citadel's like lead belcher, pretty good. This
Hmm.
bright silver Rune Fang, garbage. I think, anyways.
I don't think I've ever used that specific one. The bright silver or what?
Yeah, they're gold, like they're Retributor gold. I like also, but I do not like this Rune Fang steel. But it's the only bright silver I have, so I use it. Like so transparent that it's like almost feels like it's not worth putting on.
I made pretty good progress on these Geonosians tonight too. I mean, it just helps to have an excuse to make you sit down and just spend the time on it.
Yeah. Well, and I think
Otherwise, I end up
it's
prioritizing other stuff, you know?
yeah, well, and also I think it's easier to paint like this when, you know, we can have a conversation and kind of keep you occupied.
Yeah.
Whereas like normally when I'm painting, like if I have a fuck up or something, like I hit a point where I start to get frustrated, then I'm just sort of like, nah, and then I go do something else. It's
Yeah.
whereas like doing it on the stream here and chatting with you guys makes it a lot harder for me to get distracted.
Imperial Buckethead is here. He says, "How goes it?" And I think it
Good.
goes pretty good.
Yeah, like I said, I'm making. I'm very impressed with myself and my progress on Mr. Maul tonight. I just remember I do still have to do. I have to do something with the blade also here besides
Hmm.
um, the base. But yeah, I'm not sure because I've always done like acrylic rods, so I'm not sure how.
It's tough, right? It's just it's impossible to make it look real where you have a white core from every angle, right? So
Uh
you
huh.
kind of just
Which is why
impossible
I've
to make
kind
it.
of always done acrylic rods because I've just been like, you know, I like the way this looks way better than like basically any lightsaber paint job I've ever seen. You know, like you said, or they like there can be really good ones, but they look really good from that one angle, but
Yeah.
not the others. Oh, that's my green stuff. Where is my pile of acrylic lightsaber blades? Huh. Another reason it's good to like not be as have as big of a mess in your painting space as I've got is you can actually find shit when you want it. Hey, there
Mhm.
they are. I've only got one red rod in here. And honestly, I feel like these are going to be too thick. Yeah, that's so much thicker. And then also, I don't have enough to do both blades. So,
Yeah.
honestly, I might just. Ugh, I got some yellow. I somehow managed to dip this in. Got a bunch of his horn color on there. Might just go with a brighter red or just over top of this and leave it solid and call that good because I'll be honest, I don't know how much I feel like trying to make the blade look good because I don't think anything I do is gonna look that great. So a solid color just seems like my best option here.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
To maybe be revisited one day if I get my hands on some skinnier acrylic rod. Because the stuff I have, I think is just because I bought it for the Legion lightsabers, and you know those blades are and the handles are so much thicker than the Shatterpoint ones are.
Yeah. Yeah, it would probably look really out of place on a Shatterpoint mini. It would look so thick.
There we go. That's that. Uh oh, wait, I should maybe give him a little bit highlights on the blade quick. Not that anybody on stream's gonna notice because this, like I said, this Runefang stuff is so transparent that I can barely see it under good light here that definitely isn't going to show up on camera at all. But I forgot to do a little bit. Just hit a few spots here on the lightsaber hilt. And with that, I think I'm going to call Darth Maul done. I mean, except for his base, which I'll just do later off camera here, because I'm going to have to, because I don't want to cover up the like built-in sort of texture here. And so that's going to have to put some basing paste on here and let it dry and stuff anyways first. But yeah,
It's good.
that's here. And yeah, so for any of you watching who are on the Discord, I'll probably throw some pictures up on there. Either, well, probably not tonight because it's late, so I'm gonna be going to bed. But like once I get the base put on there, I'll throw some pictures up on there, or maybe even throw some on our Instagram. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It's not gonna win any awards or anything, but overall, I like how he turned out. All right.
Looks good to me.
Yeah. So though the light isn't as good on that second camera, but yeah. Any parting words, Kurt?
Not really.
Well, gee,
I don't know.
thanks for
Let me know
nothing,
if you
Kurt.
let me know if you want to do Shatterpoint sometime. I haven't got mine out in a number of months, so it'd be fun. I'd probably have to relearn it, but it'd be fun to play a little bit more again.
Yeah.
Play with some of my painted stuff I haven't ever got on the table either.
Yeah, well, like I said, we're trying to get like sort of a Star Wars, make Sundays more of like a general Star Wars day at the store. So maybe one of these upcoming Sundays. So, all right.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a good idea.
well, everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for chatting with us tonight and keeping me on task to actually finish a guy. And I guess we'll see y'all at the next one.
May the